Topaz, Virginia, a place where the streets fall silent in the evenings, and the only sound left is the creak of the old weather vane on the bakery roof. Here, everyone knew each other by name, and life flowed at a measured pace, as if in a perpetual daydream. But in 2003, that illusion of safety collapsed. Laura Mason, a 21-year-old student at the local college, was quiet, modest, and reserved. Adults praised her for her manners, neighbors for her politeness. But behind the facade of the perfect daughter hid a soul scarred by years of living under pressure. The Mason family lived in a two-story house with white shutters and perfectly trimmed lilac bushes. Carl Mason, the head of the family, owned a small construction business and was respected in town. But at home, he turned into a cold, harsh tyrant. Any disobedience ended with loud shouting or long silences that were worse than punishments. Mary, the mother, was her husband's shadow, outwardly caring, but endlessly devoted to Carl. She never took her children's side. Since childhood, Laura dreamed of university life in a big city, of an apartment with windows overlooking a busy street, and of evenings without her parents shouting. The only truly close person to her was her younger brother, Ben. Together they would spend hours in the old shed in the backyard, imagining they were leaving for another place. But as Ben grew older, he began to follow his father's rules, while Laura felt more and more like a stranger in her own home. In early spring, she met Joshua Miller. He was tall, confident, with a weathered face and piercing eyes. He had come to Topaz on business, but said little about his past. Laura saw in him something she had never found in her surroundings: courage, independence, and a strange, almost dangerous charisma. Joshua knew how to listen, but he was even better at planting ideas. With each passing day, he'd burrow deeper into her thoughts. At first, harmless conversations about how her parents controlled her too much. Then, assurances that she deserved a better life, and that no one has the right to keep her in a cage. Laura felt that she had finally met someone who understood her pain, not realizing how her dependence on these conversations was becoming almost addictive. One night, in a late text exchange, Joshua wrote, "You'll never be free as long as they're alive. This is your prison, Laura." At first, she replied with an emoji, hoping it was just a dark joke. But with each new meeting, Joshua's words became more direct. He described a plan: a quiet evening, a knife in the kitchen, a quick end to fear. He spoke of her father as an enemy who had stolen her life. For weeks, Laura fought with herself. By day, she studied and met with friends. By night, she replayed these conversations in her head. Joshua had a way of turning doubts into resolve. And on one rainy April night, the decision was made. Carl came home late. The house smelled of coffee and damp wood from the open window. Mary dozed in the living room. Laura stood in the kitchen, clutching a knife. Joshua was beside her, his voice low but firm. Now or never. The minutes blurred into a haze. When she came to, it was already too late for both Carl and Mary. Joshua moved quickly, helping to clean up the traces. Laura was trembling, but he assured her everything was under control, that soon they would be free. The morning changed everything. Police cars were parked outside. Neighbors whispered over fences. Joshua was gone. No call, no note, no explanation. Laura was left alone, with her parents' bodies in the house and a truth that could not be hidden. During questioning, she denied everything at first, but pressure and isolation took their toll. A few days later, she confessed. The trial lasted for months. Every glance in the courtroom was torture. Neighbors, childhood friends, Ben's classmates, everyone who had once seen her as a kind, quiet girl now saw her a murderer. Laura was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In her cell, she wrote long letters to Ben, but never received a reply. The story of Laura Mason became a legend in Topaz. People whispered about the girl a man drove to murder. But for Laura herself, it was no legend. Only a constant reminder that sometimes the prison inside you is far worse than the one outside.